When snow met embers. Some souls are born in frost. Others are forged in fire. One will freeze, the other will burn. But when they touch, something will melt and something will ignite. Will snow ever find its ember? Will ember ever keep its snow? Or will they destroy each other first? Episode 1. Zurich is perfect. And that's the problem. The lake never ripples unless it's told to. The buildings never lean. The silence never breaks. Everything here is placed, polished, untouched. Zurich is beautiful like glass. You can look at it. You can't touch it. That's where I was born. In frost, I was standing at the edge of Zurich Sea with the wind pulling at my coat. The lake was still as glass, not a single ripple. Only the mist from the Alps sliding down into the water, like the sky had fallen and was trying to hide. The air was cold, the kind of cold that numbed your cheeks and cleaned your lungs. The scent of pine trees hung in the air. Light? It was 6:47 a.m. The city wasn't fully awake yet. The lake didn't move unless the weather told it to. Nothing here ever did. The buildings across the water were clean. The streets were quiet. The silence was almost polished. It was the kind of city you admired from a distance. You didn't touch it. I pulled my coat tighter and looked at my reflection in the water. Pale, tired eyes, hair tied back so it wouldn't fly in my face. Zurich didn't like mess, so I learned not to be one. "I miss you, Zurich," I said. It came out quieter than I meant it to. The sound disappeared into the water. No echo. This city never gave anything back. Ich vermiss dich. Swiss German, my mother's tongue. Saying it out loud made the leaving feel final. My throat closed for half a second, and the place I'm going to. I don't know if it'll accept me or not. My fingers moved to the locket around my neck. Silver, old mom's. I held it tight until the metal warmed against my skin. Closed my eyes. "This is for you, Mom." The house behind me was large and glass-fronted, right on the water. It had been quiet since Mom died. A few months ago. Cancer, fast, clean, gone. She went in January. By March, her clothes still smelled like her. By May, I stopped opening her closet. By July, I stopped setting a plate for 3 at dinner. Granny came from Pakistan a week after the funeral. She said she was here temporarily. She stayed because the 3 of us would have shattered without her. My father, Solman Zaidi, Granny, me, I got used to her. Too used to her. She filled the house with cardamom and prayers, and a noise I didn't know I missed. She rearranged the kitchen. She talked to the plants. She asked me questions I didn't have answers to. "Beta, have you eaten? Beta, when did you last sleep properly?" I hated it. Then I needed it. Now she was going back. To Karachi, to the Zaidi house, to family noise, and a life I didn't know. So I decided to go with her. "I'm coming," I told her. It wasn't a question. My father said no first. Of course he did. "Gia, it's not that simple." He was right. It wasn't. I had school records here, a bank account, a life that fit in a quiet box. Pakistan was the opposite of a box. Granny spoke to him that night. I never asked what. The next morning, he looked at me, nodded once, and went to his office. That was permission enough. I was going to Pakistan, from snow to fire. The day of the flight arrived faster than I expected. The night before, I couldn't sleep. I walked through the apartment at 2 a.m. My father's office was still lit. He was working. He always worked when he couldn't feel anything else. I stood at the door for a long time and didn't knock. Mom's room was next. We had sealed it. Granny's words. "Not yet, Beta," but I opened it anyway. It smelled faintly of her perfume and old paper. Her books were still on the shelf. Her scarf was still on the chair. I didn't touch anything. I just stood there and let the quiet press against my chest until it hurt. I wasn't leaving her behind. I was taking her with me. I stood in our kitchen the next morning with my father, while the suitcases waited by the door. I had rehearsed this goodbye in my head a dozen times. None of them worked. He wouldn't look at me. "Dad," I said. He turned. His eyes were red in a way he would never admit. I hugged him. He was stiff for half a second. Then his arms came around me like he was afraid I'd vanish. "Take care of yourself," I managed. "I will," he said. His voice broke on the last word. Mine did too. I hated that he saw it. Mishi was waiting at the cafe near the lake. She was the opposite of Zurich. Loud, impulsive, mine. She took one look at me and slid into the chair. "All right, new country, new rules, make it count," she said. "Something interesting has to happen to you there, Gia. Maybe you'll even find your soulmate." I hit her arm. "Light," she grinned. "Ah, see, you've still got some fire in you." We laughed because the alternative was crying. Mishi and I met in school. She was the girl who got detention for talking. I was the girl who got top marks for not talking. Somehow, that worked. She knew about Mom. She never said sorry. She just showed up, with coffee, with bad jokes, with silence when I needed it. We hugged outside the cafe, and it lasted too long. "You never know," I told her, my forehead against hers. "Maybe this trip gives me something. Maybe it gives Mom something too." Mishi pulled back, and her eyes were glassy. "Best of luck on your new journey, Gia. End mission." She squeezed me hard. "I'm going to miss you. I'll miss you more." The apartment was empty when I got back. Bags packed, zipped, done. Sitting by the door like they were already gone. I kicked my shoes off and the sound echoed. Too loud. I opened my handbag and took out Mom's diary. The leather was soft from years of her holding it. The edges were worn. I pressed it to my forehead for a second, then put it in the side pocket of my other bag. I wasn't leaving her behind. I couldn't. The kitchen was clean to clean. Dad had wiped everything. No cups in the sink. No crumbs. Like no one had ever lived here. I sat on the floor for a while, my back against the wall. The apartment echoed without us in it. Without Granny's voice, without Mom's things in use. It felt like a museum, like a place we were just visiting. I walked to the balcony last. The view was the same one I'd had my whole life. Lake, Alps, sky, clean lines, no mess, no cracks, no people. I gripped the cold metal railing until my fingers hurt. "I'm going to miss all of this," I said. To the city, to her, Dad, Mishi. The wind moved through my hair, tugging at the loose strands. It felt like the city was saying goodbye. I don't know what's waiting for me in Pakistan, but I'm not staying frozen here forever, I exhaled. My breath made a small cloud in the cold air, then vanished. Let's see what happens when snow decides to move. Gia? Granny stood in my doorway, her own bag by her feet. "Airport?" she asked. I nodded. She stepped inside. "Are you ready?" she said gently, "for a new beginning at the Zadie house." I walked to her and hugged her. She smelled like cardamom and safety. "I've made my decision," I said against her shoulder. "So I'll live with it." She pulled back and studied me. Then she smiled, slow, knowing I smiled too. And then we were both laughing because it was the only way to cut the tension. Arrival. The drive to Defense took 40 minutes. Or maybe 40 years. Karachi didn't look like Zurich at all. Buildings were taller, closer, messier. Billboards everywhere. Motorcycles weaving between cars, honking, constant honking. A man selling water at a red light. Kids with balloons. A mosque with a green dome. I pressed my forehead to the window and watched. Granny saw me watching, overwhelming. I nodded. She smiled. "Good, that means you're awake." The car slowed and turned into a wide street. Gated houses, trees, then it stopped. Outside the gate, a brass nameplate gleamed in the evening light. _Zadie house, _. My first thought was, it's big. My second thought was, even from outside I could hear it. Voices, music from somewhere. A child laughing. Granny had told me all about it on the flight. Zurich is as peaceful as it gets, Granny had said, her eyes crinkling with a smile. Zadie House has twice as much noise, child. Zadie House wasn't one house. It was two houses, merged into one. Granny had 5 children. Salman Zadie, the eldest. His wife Nima, my aunt by marriage. Salim Zadie, his wife, Aram, also my aunt by marriage. Their 3 children, Daim, Hania, and Camille. Solman Zadie, my father. Saba Zadie, my paternal aunt. Her husband Imran, their son Nahal. Shan Zadie, the youngest, his wife Sidra, my uncle's wife, their twins Abraj and Zoya. Everyone lived in this house now, except for Saba, who lived in her own home, and Solman, who was still in Zurich when Granny explained it. I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Curiosity. I wanted to go there, to meet them all. The gate opened. We stepped inside. The first thing I noticed was the lawn. It was huge, green, perfectly cut, not Zurich clean, lived in clean. There were cricket bats leaning against a tree, a pair of sandals by the steps, a bicycle on its side. The house itself was white and wide, 2 wings. It smelled like jasmine and food, biryani maybe, and something sweet. For 19 years, my world had been glass and lake and silence. This was wood and noise and life spilling out of every corner. My chest felt tight, not from fear, from something else. Granny touched my back. Breathe, Beta. I did. One portion housed Salman Zadie and his family, and Shan Zadie and his family, across the upper and lower floors. The other housed Salim Zadie, Sulman Zadie, and Granny's room was also in Sulman's portion, on the ground floor. We went straight to Sulman Zadie's portion. That was where Granny would be staying now. And because of my arrival, everyone had gathered there that day. The moment we entered, the noise got louder. Aunt Nima hugged Granny first. Mother, you're home. Aunt Aram turned to me with a soft smile. So this is Gia. You look just like your mother. Nimra came running. You're Gia, I'm Nimra. We're going to be best friends. Daniel nodded from the stairs, polite, watching. Hania appeared with a plate of biscuits. You must be starving from the flight. Camille peeked from behind her and hid again. I didn't know where to look, or who to answer first. In Zurich, I was invisible. Here, I was the event. After the greetings, everyone went back to their own portions. Granny took me to her room. It was new, part of the lower portion. The ground floor was airy and spacious. Granny's room was large, and a wide window overlooked the entire lawn. I could see the whole house from here. The lights, the people moving inside. I sank onto the bed. It was soft, too soft. Nothing like my bed in Zurich. Granny was tired too, so she lay down and fell asleep soon after. For me, everything was new. I realized I had stepped out of the cold and into the heat. I noticed the air conditioner was on full blast. It was cold, artificial cold. A piece of Zurich I had brought with me. Lying there, I thought about everyone I'd just met. The voices, the faces, the way they all talked over each other and still listened. I drifted off to sleep. Hours later, I woke up. The bed was empty. Granny had gotten up and gone out at some point. I got up, went to the bathroom, freshened up, and came back out. Granny was back in the room. She had already unpacked my luggage. My clothes were folded. Mom's diary was on the nightstand. We started talking. Granny, child, how do you like it here? Are you all right? I didn't know what to say. I didn't even know how I felt yet. Just a bit of jet lag. It will pass. Granny, come child. Everyone is waiting for you for dinner. I felt nervous. Adjusting in front of so many people so soon felt difficult. Granny, noticing it, placed a hand on my shoulder. They're all family. You'll get to know them once you spend time with them. After dinner, everyone sat together and talked. They asked me about Zurich, about my father. about the snow. I liked them all. I was seeing this kind of life for the first time. Everyone sitting together, talking, laughing, arguing about who would do the dishes. For me, it was all new. Later, I was sitting in my room when there was a knock on the door. "Come in." The door opened and a girl walked in carrying a plate. She looked out of breath like she'd run up the stairs. Big eyes, messy bun, energy. Hania was sweet. Around my age, I liked her immediately. "Hania, Mom said you didn't eat, so I stole this from the kitchen." She put the plate down. Cake, 2 spoons. "Gia, you didn't have to." "Hania, I wanted to." She sat on my bed, cross-legged, no permission asked. I shifted back an inch. Old habit. Hania saw it. She didn't comment. She just pushed 1 spoon toward me. "Hania, so, you're the Zurich girl. The quiet one," she said, quiet like she was studying me. "This house is the opposite of quiet, by the way. Just so you know." "Gia," I figured. Hania laughed. "Good, because you'll need to figure out a lot of things here." She took a bite of cake, then stopped chewing. She looked at me, really looked. "Hania, there's someone you haven't met yet." "Gia, who?" "Hania, my brother Dime." "Gia, oh, where is he?" "Hania, he's out, with friends, on an outing." "Hania, and when he's home, there'll be a storm." Gia looked at Hania like she didn't understand anything. Hania looked at Gia's face and said, "Don't worry, you'll find out." Slowly. And after a while, she left. After Hania left, I went out to find Granny. Granny was sitting in the drawing room with Aunt Saba. I saw them, then walked out toward the lawn instead. I looked around, observing everything. It was quiet outside now. No one was in the lawn at that time. The house lights were on, but the garden was dark. Crickets. I wandered around aimlessly. Wait. Someone stopped me. I looked up. A boy was standing in front of me. It was Dime, the one everyone had been talking about. He looked a little panicked. He wasn't even looking at me. His eyes were fixed to the side where Salim Zaidi could be seen doing something. "Dime, who are you?" "Dime, what are you doing out here at this hour? And how did you even get here?" he asked me, but his gaze never left Salim Zaidi. "Gia, I came from Zurich." Salim Zaidi walked back inside. Dime's held breath finally released. "Dime, wait, what? Granny's here?" Hearing me, Dime finally understood. He looked at me properly now. Blue eyes, hair in a ponytail. I looked back at him, and in a hurry, he reached out and pulled the band out of my ponytail. My hair came loose, falling over my shoulders. He turned quickly and said, "Dime, you don't wander around outside at this hour." And he walked off fast, disappearing inside the house. I was left standing there. I just stared after him. I had no idea what had just happened. End of episode 1.